Good evening, you're watching Estuary News, and tonight's show, an appeal for witnesses after a serious crash in North Lincolnshire, and news of a World Cup call-up for one of our local rugby players in the sport later on with Dan. I'll be joined by Bob Claxton later on to talk about Tai Chi, and before that, Chris Hopkin and Emily Brown are here to talk about their full-length feature film shot entirely beside the Humber. Humberside police are appealing for witnesses after a road crash on the A180 left two people injured. The incident occurred yesterday at around 3:30 in the afternoon. A blue Vauxhall Corsa collided with a black Toyota Avensis outside Barnaby. A 79-year-old man who was driving the Vauxhall has received minor injuries. His passenger, a 77-year-old woman, suffered leg and chest injuries. They were both taken to hospital. Anyone who may have seen the collision is asked to ring Humberside Police on 101, quoting log number 354 for the date the 8th of October 17. A former mayor of Winterton in North Lincolnshire has died in an accident. Fran Fletcher died on Saturday the 7th of October after a motorbike incident at the Brands Hatch motor racing circuit. Miss Winterton was a councillor on Winterton Town Council and served as mayor of the town. She was 55 years old. A 50-year-old man sustained stab wounds to his neck in an incident in Grimsby over the weekend. He was attacked in the doorway of his home in Harold Street in the town shortly after midnight on Fridays. His injuries are not thought to be life-threatening, and Humberside police are appealing for witnesses. Tollbar Academy's Chair of Governors has written an open letter to North East Lincolnshire Council criticising the construction of a traffic light system to replace the Tollbar roundabout. Philip Bond says he felt compelled to write the letter after strong public opposition to the changes. He writes that he was taken aback when he discovered that the work on the new traffic light system would take 8 months to complete. He goes on to write that the Academy was not consulted about the new temporary drop-off zones suggested by the Council, which would be near the roundabout leading into Scartho. Speaking to Estuary News last week, Councillor David Watson of North East Lincolnshire Council said that the traffic light system is a response to traffic congestion in the area.
The problem we've got at the moment with it's not a problem really, with the growth agenda, there's going to be a lot of houses in the area, and it's essential that we deal with the traffic flow in that area. And the modelling suggested that the current roundabout is not suitable, it's got uncontrolled crossing points, the traffic's uncontrolled, and so it really a signalised junction with controlled traffic points is a lot safer for pedestrians, road users and cyclists.
A Cottingham charity is setting up a new workshop and training centre to deliver 3,000 bikes to low-income families across the county. Our Evolution's new centre will be in Station Road and opens on the 12th of October. Our Evolution provides training and support to long-term unemployed people and offers short cycle mechanics courses to the public and in local prisons. North East Lincolnshire Council is joining forces with Cleethorpes in Bloom to tackle illegal fly posting in the resort. The campaign is to support the Cleethorpes in Bloom team during the National Britain in Bloom Awards, which has brought the group significant success in the past. The campaign will involve removing illegally posted posters across the resort, and the council is asking for anyone who sees fly posters in action to go to www.nelinks.gov.uk and click Report It. On tonight's Hot Topic, I'll be speaking to Chris Haskins, Lord Haskins, chairman of the Humber Local Enterprise Partnership. I asked him why the ports of the Humber are becoming increasingly popular for international trade.
Well, some of them are setting up. I mean, in Hull, Reckitt Bencover is a very interesting example, because the original Reckitt's company started in Hull, was a Hull-based company, and had its headquarters. I first came to Hull 40 or 50 years ago. Its headquarters was here, and then they moved away to London, to the south. And, 2 or 3 years ago, I thought we'd never see another Reckitt's investment here. But they've suddenly decided, very prudently, to centre all their worldwide research and development in the over-the-counter type of health things, like the Lemsips and all, in Hull. And they've spent 100 million, they're going to spend another 100 million. There's a Reckitt spin-off in Hull, which is doing drugs, high-risk drugs. Again, a legacy of, they came from Hull, and why did they stay here? Smith and Nephew, which is another Hull company originally, have decided to invest in research and develop in high-tech stuff. So there is a bit of that going on. And then, of course, on the South Bank, I mean, the attraction is the North Sea and the access to the to the wind farms on the North Sea.
And I'm joined now by Chris Hopkin and Emily Brown to tell me about a new film they've made entirely on the banks of the Humber. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Emily, you're the producer.
Yes.
And Chris, you're the auteur here. You're the director and the writer.
Co-writer, but
Okay.
director, yeah.
What is the name of the film, Emily?
One Summer When You Went Away.
One Summer When You Went Away. I think we better ask the writer what it's about. Give us without spoiling the endings, what happens?
It's basically following the journey of a boy named Danny. He's around about 19 and he doesn't really have any idea what he wants to do in life, like a lot of 19-year-olds are. And he's basically trying to find that direction to go in, and we start the film as he meets this new character who kind of has a very good idea of what he should do. And it's kind of just following this little week in his life as he works out what he's going to do with his life.
And all this is set almost entirely in Hull.
Yes, there is a scene out in Hornsey.
So what was it like filming in Hull? Was it easy to find locations?
When you know Hull very well, yeah, it's easy because you see a location in the script and you just think, I know the perfect place for that. And it was pretty easy to find locations, wasn't it? Yeah.
When any sort of artistic endeavour, you've got a bit of an idea about who you're making it for, Chris. So what's your audience for a film like this?
I think I'm trying to make it as broad as possible. It does have this kind of like coming of age feel for the younger audiences who watch programs like Skins and things like that. But I do like to think it hopefully does hit those kind of emotions that are bit more mature, a bit kind of more developed. So it is a kind of comedy drama, but I'm hoping that kind of all ages can at least find it accessible.
This film is still in post-production. I think it's still in maybe even just being in production. Are you still shooting?
We have 1 day left.
Okay. This is not the first film, though. You're part of a group called Dead Bod.
Dead Bob Films, yes.
Dead Bod Films, which after the wonderful famous sign on the Humber in Hull there. You've made a film before, though.
Yes.
What was that called? It has a brilliant title.
The Bagpipe Maker's Baby.
The Bagpipe Maker's Baby. Let's have a look at a little clip from that then, I hope.
Smoke, it settles on my skin. Can play with fire and never will. Someone save me. Help me breathe.
The Bagpipe Maker's Baby. It sounds rather more Scottish than Hull.
Well, it's just a fairy tale kind of story to it. He's visited by an old man who delivers these bagpipes that he wants fixing to him, and he takes them away, and they turn into his baby, and eventually marries this strange woman who meets him on the beach. So it's a weird fairy tale. It's very
Like
arty.
there's a bit of magical realism going on there.
Yeah.
And a sort of kind of Ingmar Bergman kind of feel to the shots on the beach there. Or maybe I've just put shots on the beach and I only think of one thing because I have such a cliched memory for films, I'm afraid. You'd be able to tell me better than that. So you've written this. I mean, when you wrote it, that's the easy bit, sitting down and putting the ink on the paper. What was the inspiration behind that, Chris?
I mean, I didn't write the initial part. It was Julian Woodford who actually wrote the script. I then adapted what he'd written to kind of be more accessible for a wider audience. It's the first script I've written personally, or adapted from, and it was a lot of fun actually, kind of making it a bit more, adaptable for a wider audience.
What sort of production has this been? How many people involved?
There's been loads, and everyone's just been very eager to be involved. There's been 25 crew, 6 main cast, 30 extras, and the list goes on and on. There's been a lot of people
Big
involved.
filmmaking community in Hull, there, isn't there?
Yeah,
beneath the
it's been
surface?
growing a lot, and not a lot of people know we're there. But yeah, we've been encouraged more by the City of Culture, and more people are trying to get involved, and been more understanding of the filmmaking process. So it's been growing.
Now, Chris is the temperamental artist here, but you're the ruthless producer, and you have to turn this into money. What sort of distribution have you sorted out?
Distribution so far, we don't have. We're going into the festival route first. This is the first films we've made. We decided to go the festival route, so make them and show them to other like-minded people, get their views on it, then go back to the edit, see if we need to improve anything, and then send them into festivals and hope that it's liked by other people. But we haven't got a distribution to any big networks like Netflix or anything like that yet.
That would be selling out, man. You can't do that. But you are hoping for a release just after Christmas, Chris, I think.
That's the aim. We're going to try and get one somewhere out by
Will
around
people,
about.
do you know which festivals should people be thinking of to go and see it?
At the moment, we've got the Bagpipe Maker's Baby in Cardiff International Film Festival.
Okay.
The one summer one.
All right.
Sorry.
No, that's all right, Emily. That's perfect. Thank you very much. But we must stop there. Join me again in the second breakdown. I'll have all the local sport, and Bob Claxton will be telling me about Tai Chi. Welcome back. You're still watching Estuary News, and still to come, Dan brings us the latest sports news, and I'll be joined by Bob Claxton, who'll be telling me about the health benefits of Tai Chi. Staff of housing provider Ongo and tenants of Market Hall in Scunthorpe have raised over £800 for Lindsay Lodge Hospice. A fundraising scheme was set up by Ongo, North Lincolnshire's largest housing provider. Every year, staff from Ongo's concierge team and tenants from Market Hill host a range of fundraising activities to raise money for their chosen charities. This year, Lindsay Lodge Hospice was the recipient. The hospice provides palliative care for people with life-limiting illnesses. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and North Lincolnshire Council is raising awareness of the disease and how to spot its symptoms. The council is working with a Humberside breast screening service to deliver awareness sessions at British Steel and North Lindsey College. 107 women are diagnosed with breast cancer in North Lincolnshire every year, half of them aged under 70. 81% of the cancers are detected at stage 1 or stage 2. Survival rates from breast cancer continue to rise, with one-year survival rates currently standing at more than 96%. Now, I'm joined by, talking of health and good news from health, joined by Bob Claxton, who is an expert and veteran practitioner of yoga. Of Tai Chi, I'm so sorry. Welcome. No, that's how you get people... That's how you get people fighting.
Yes, Tai Chi does come as a martial art, but nowadays it's more practiced as a health art.
Well, first of all, what is Tai Chi? Not everybody will have the fluent Chinese that you and I speak.
No. It's an ancient Chinese martial art that became a health art and a meditation art. And in fact, it's all three rolled into one. Nowadays, very few people practice the martial side. It's more about the health side.
Well, I've seen it often. I used to live in Hong Kong, where it's very popular, and everybody would go out into the parks and the streets every morning and do a good sort of half hour or so of Tai Chi. But it just looks like very, very slow kung fu.
Yes, that would be a good way of describing what you see as Tai Chi. Apart from the physical movements, there's a lot going on with the mind in Tai Chi.
Will you give us a quick demonstration just of a simple, fairly easy move? If you
Yes,
take the floor. Okay, it looks very graceful. It looks rather more like a dance than a sport. I almost don't want to interrupt you because you're concentrating. Do you want to grab a seat, Bob? It was relaxing just to watch it.
Yes, and of course very brief, but
Yeah.
when we practice it takes time, it takes a lot of focus. It is a holistic art and it does require the body and the mind working together.
I noticed there was quite a lot of tension going on there. You didn't lock your knees as you stood up there. You were letting the muscles bear the weight rather than the bones.
Yes, it's very much about getting your skeletal alignment correct, which then allows your internal organs to sit in their natural places. This is partly where the health benefits start. But by moving so slowly, it increases the amount of nerve pathways we are using. This is very good for your health. It has many health benefits, particularly good for depression, overweight, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, early onset. It's also good for a whole host. There's lists of hundreds of reports, medical reports that have been done on Tai Chi, from diabetes to just about everything. Because it mainly deals with stress, and stress is the main thing that lies behind all illnesses, whether it be physical, emotional or mental.
It's got a very ancient history. As you said, it started off as a martial art, a fighting technique. I don't think you do anybody much harm at that speed nowadays, but it goes right back to even before Chinese writing.
Yes. The earliest parts, the energy work behind what happens in Tai Chi, the Chi as it's called in Tai Chi, was developed by monks in their monasteries. They developed their energies and everything. Then later it was found that the meditation practices they required, 12-hour meditations, requires a lot of body endurance. So they were then started to be taught physical exercises, but they then also had to protect themselves as there was no police in the middle of China. So the fighting arts developed.
Okay, there's a emblem on your shirt there, which is a Taoist connection to that Tai Chi.
This is an early symbol of yin and yang, which people may know in the West as the two fish which swim around each other.
Well, it's a sort of black half with a white circle and a white half with a black circle.
Correct, yes.
That represents the same meaning.
It's the same meaning. We have yang and yin, total yang, total yin, variations of the energies in between. These are the 8 energies that are represented within Tai Chi. Understanding the energies of Tai Chi is quite difficult to explain. It's a bit like you trying to describe what cheese tastes like.
Okay.
It's beyond words really, and it comes from the practice.
If people wanted to get a bit more involved in Tai Chi or take it up, they've never come across it before, how should they go about it?
Well, there's plenty of teachers in town. And in the surrounding in Grimsby and surrounding areas, most places now you can find a Tai Chi teacher. You will find varying levels of Tai Chi, from quite casual, where it's a nice social evening, a bit of exercise, and they generally put a bit of music on, which is okay, because any exercise is good exercise. But the real health benefits of Tai Chi come from practicing traditionally, which does require using the mind. Not only do we shape the body in our moves and make sure our structure is right, we focus the mind in particular ways, and along with breathing techniques, this is where the true health benefits come from Tai Chi.
And if you're clumsy and prone to falling over and have absolutely no sense of balance like me?
Yes, proprioception, I believe it's called, not being aware of where you are in space. It's very good for this.
Okay.
Very good.
Bob, thank you so much for coming in. Absolutely fascinating. I'll give it a go. I'll try it again.
Okay,
Thanks so much, Bob. Here's Dan with all the sports news.
We'll start with rugby, and Hull FC forward Scott Taylor has been named in England's 24-man squad for the Rugby League World Cup. The 26-year-old has 2 previous appearances for the national team and is now part of head coach Wayne Bennett's squad for the competition that gets underway in Australia later this month. He's joined in the 24-strong party by former Hull KR man Josh Hodgson, now of Canberra. England have one pre-tournament game against affiliated states on the 20th of October, a week before they kick off the competition against the hosts in Melbourne. Across the city, new Hull Kingston Rovers signing for next season, Danny Maguire, bowed out of his current club on Saturday in some style. He scored 2 tries in Leeds Rhinos' comfortable 24-6 win over Castleford at Old Trafford. He'll join up with his new Robins teammates for pre-season. Football now, and a number of Hull City's first teamers have turned out for their under-23s this afternoon. Kevin Stewart started their game at Crewe, having missed the last month due to injury since joining in the summer from Liverpool. David Marshall, Brian Lenihan, Andre Mazout, Adama Diamande, John Terrell and the Championship's top scorer Jawad Bowen all played in the game. City won 3-1 with Terrell netting one of the goals. Meanwhile, a number of City's internationals are making their way back to Hull following the international break. Marcus Henriksen played in both of Norway's wins over the last week, while Ola Aina made his Nigeria debut as they qualified for the next summer's World Cup. David Myler captained the Republic of Ireland as they beat Moldova, and he'll be hoping to feature for them once again this evening as they face Wales in Cardiff. Alan McGregor was an unused substitute as Scotland missed out on qualification, drawing 2-2 with Slovenia. Elsewhere, more locally, Scunthorpe United lost 2-1 to Wigan Athletic at the weekend. Funso Ojo scored his first iron goal in vain as United dropped to 8th in League One. Meanwhile, Grimsby Town came out on the positive end of a 2-1 scoreline. The Mariners came from behind to win at Vale Park. Tom Pope had given the home side the lead, but strikes by Sam Jones and Sariki Dembele gave Town the 3 points. It was the latter's first goal for the club. The Mariners are up to 13th in League Two, just 4 points from the playoff places. And finally, North Ferriby United on non-league day drew 3-3 with FC United of Manchester. And that's all for the sport.
Thank you very much, Dan. That's it for today. As always, if you have a news story you think we should be covering, it would be great if you got in touch with us. We look forward to hearing from you with anything you might have. You can contact us on Facebook and Twitter. Details below me. news@estuary.tv or ring us on 01472 3155553. Those are the best ways of getting to us. And you can write to us as well. Until tomorrow, good evening.